Hey, Madawaska, just wanting to come to you and talk a little bit about what we're going to do on the 17th. I'm going to pull it up right here. If you know me, I have lots of tabs open at all times. All right. It's an in-service day that is offered as a flex day as well. And so this happens a lot in March, as we know that we're sometimes paired up with um, our spring break, and that can be a challenge for our staff and that are headed out of town or are chaperoning trips and such. And so this day, you need to let us know what your plan is by the 1st of March. Your job to do now is to complete this form, and all it asks is what your plan is on that day. Any work for March 17th is due on the 12th to your building administrator. You would provide a summary of what you've completed, or if you've completed documents, you'd share those with them so they can see what work has been completed. Your first job on this day, you're going to watch the Guaranteed and Valuable Curriculum file or video from Aloha Huber Schools. This is not new. We've watched it 2 to 3 times already. It's from a school in Oregon that we've chosen to follow a little bit of their path and talk through how we create guaranteed and valuable curriculum and why that's important. Your next thing, we are at a spot where we're going to review our work. So you're going to pull up this document, and this is a document that has the K-12 overview, belief statement. It has your ELO, vocabulary and assessment information, and then pacing guides. You look here, there's some things that are missing. Certainly, it doesn't make sense where Spanish is missing here in the lower grades. It doesn't make sense for them to have anything there, but you can see I want you to review what your role is in this. Everybody, as that's an educator, has a role in this to take a peek and see what you've done. Now, going back to 317, some of the things that we've seen, guys, is that your settings, we can't, when I click in on them, I can't see them and I have to request access. So I want you to go in and make sure anything that you've shared has been shared to Madawaska and that people can view. We don't need to edit your work, but it needs to be viewed. Again, this is for Madawaska. This isn't for anyone else. This is just for us as educators at 2149. Okay. Then I want you to go into the ELO vocab and assessments. Based on the feedback that you gave us from previous work, which was on January 3rd, many of you needed time to make sure that you could complete the ELO vocab and assessments and pacing guides as we asked you to do. And so we're going to give you time on this day to do that. A few things. If you have the EVA, the ELO vocab and assessments, you need to make sure that you have the live links with assessments or a checklist of what you're looking for. I've seen a few things where it says I'm going to observe and there's nothing else for a depth of knowledge listed. And it's pretty, it was work that you completed, but maybe not your best quality. So you need to go back and make sure to take a peek at that. I will be looking through these as we get further into the spring and asking you to complete the work on your own time if you don't do it now. So use the time to just go back and make sure you've done it as expected. Also, guys, on pacing guides, I'm seeing a few things of pacing guides from people that previously taught the class that you're teaching, or maybe something from someone else that you borrowed. I want it to be a representation of what you teach. Certainly, if somebody's taught it before, I know that that's maybe the gist of what you teach or most of what you teach, but maybe that's not exactly what is happening in your class. So please go through and what you teach. I have 2 samples here of some strong pacing guides. One is from Linda, 7th grade Fayed. Talks about the ELOs, the units, the time allotted, the resource, and the assessments. You can see where she's at with that. I have another one, which is from Gabe, which is also 7th grade geography, who has done a nice job. He has his ELOs right up here. And you can see the unit, the time allotted, and then has those live links of what is going to be needed for that. This is really helpful as we go forward in planning and really should be helpful for you as you plan and prepare each week. Then the next piece that I'm going to ask you to do is talk about technology. And it's not a long piece. I'm going to ask you to watch this TED Talk. It's less than 10 minutes. This TED Talk talks about is technology the best or worst thing for education? And I think that all of us could argue it's a little bit of both. And so I want you to take a peek at that, just to have some thoughts on that. And then we're going to ask you to do this survey. The survey is not extremely long, but it just tells us a little bit of where are we headed, what do you currently have in your classroom, what do you wish you had, what do you wish students had, and go through with that. So that's what the strong majority of our teaching staff is going to do. You have now until March 12th if you're doing that in a flex day option. Okay. Special ed staff, you are going to do process paperwork, and then you have the TED Talk and the technology survey as well. ADSYS crew, there are a few of you. You're going to complete the service hour spreadsheet or begin that work and review what the end of year requirements are. Complete the TED Talk and the technology survey. You do not know what the first number 1 and 2 are, so we're going to meet here when the weather is better and have some conversation about what that needs to look like. And so I will be reaching out to you shortly with a date for us to connect. Some of the departments you are in high cycle, and so we have some different work for you to do because you're going to be choosing new curriculum. English, we're going to meet on the 27th in the afternoon. That's been moved, and that will be coming to you shortly again. We will talk about what that work is at that time. But I also know that 227 is a week, not quite a week from now. And so that 312 date might be unrealistic. And so we're going to talk about what that due date could be if you choose the flex option. Also knowing that hopefully we have curriculum that we could at least take a peek at. 8 and 9 health, we are going to do the same thing. We are going to meet in early March, as you know, and then move forward with things. So we'll talk about a due date for you as well. K-12 PE, I want you to do the same thing as what you have done, what I have listed for everyone. We are going to choose a date and work through things, but if you have not gone into the PD tasks, physical education tasks that we created last time, that's something that you need to complete now, and we are working on the date on the calendar. All right, I think that's it for you guys. I'm sorry this got a little bit longer than planned. Hope you're having a great e-learning day, and we will see you when it's a little better out there. Take care.